the transfer of bacteria from raw chicken to other foods can be prevented, then the transfer of gluten to gluten-free foods can be avoided as well. This training video will highlight areas of concern for gluten cross-contact in shared kitchens and offer strategies for food purchasing, storage, and handling to prepare gluten-free meals for children with celiac disease. At the end of this video, viewers will be able to describe common ways that gluten cross-contact occurs in shared kitchens, identify 2 strategies to reduce the risk of gluten cross-contact, and explain how to determine if a product is gluten-free. Let's get started.
Eating is a major part of life. We all eat about 3 times a day, plus those in-between meal snacks. For a child attending school, half or more of their daily meals may occur at the learning institution they attend, so it is incredibly important that there's a gluten-free protocol in place for children with celiac disease.
This can be done in a number of ways depending on the desires of the child with celiac disease and the type of learning environment that they attend. Some children with celiac prefer to bring their food from home. They like knowing where the food comes from and how it was prepared. If a child with celiac disease elects to bring their own food to school, it's important that the learning environment offer a clean location for the child to eat, as well as any equipment they may need to facilitate eating of the food. For example, a clean microwave to heat up leftover pasta. Be sure to follow all local and state guidelines for cleaning of eating spaces. These practices will help ensure a gluten-free environment for the child eating there.
Other children may want to eat lunch provided by the school cafeteria and go through the lunch line with the rest of their friends. In a learning environment that receives federal funding, the school must provide nutritionally equivalent gluten-free food options for children with celiac disease who have a 504 plan in place. Private schools should also provide gluten-free options because it's the right thing to do to promote an inclusive environment for all children.
When a child requests gluten-free food, there are several areas to consider to ensure safe food is provided. Start by evaluating the foods already available in the cafeteria and make a list of food items that are naturally gluten-free and those that are not. For foods that are not gluten-free, look for simple substitutions such as rice, corn tortillas, gluten-free breads, and gluten-free pastas, as well as naturally gluten-free foods like meats, cheeses, fruits, and vegetables.
When creating your menus, think of ways to make them naturally gluten-free. And don't let the idea of gluten-free get in the way of your creativity. There are so many gluten-free options on the market these days. We don't want to hear about plain chicken and salad offered for every meal. For example, try using corn tortillas for Taco Tuesday instead of flour tortillas. Purchase a gluten-free pizza crust for Pizza Friday. There are dozens of gluten-free pastas made from alternative grains like quinoa and brown rice. Use corn or potato starch as the base of sauces and soups instead of wheat flour. Cook rice in water instead of a stock base that contains wheat. Sauces and marinades can be made using gluten-free soy sauce or tamari. All of these are very simple ways that you can make your regular menu gluten-free friendly for students with celiac disease.
If you're purchasing gluten-free packaged products, try to select those that are labeled gluten-free. A product with a gluten-free label must meet the FDA gluten-free labeling rule, which requires that the product contains no wheat, rye, or barley, or be processed to contain less than 20 parts per million gluten. If the product does not contain a gluten-free label, please contact the manufacturer to confirm the gluten-free status of the food item.
Now that you've identified gluten-free food options, it's important to evaluate your food preparation and serving areas to prevent gluten cross-contact. This can easily occur in shared cafeterias. Here are some key areas of cross-contact and how to prevent gluten exposure. Food items with visible gluten contamination or gluten-containing ingredients, wheat, rye, and barley, should never be served to children with celiac disease. Always cut gluten-free food items first. However, if you must use the same knife with gluten-free and gluten-containing foods, wash the knife before contact with the gluten-free items, and do not use a knife with visible gluten on it. When cooking or preparing foods that are both gluten-containing and gluten-free, always prepare the gluten-free item first. Gluten-free pasta should never be cooked in water that has already been used to cook gluten-containing pasta. Do not steam vegetables in water used to cook gluten-containing pasta. Shared pots, pans, cutting boards, and utensils can safely be used for food prepared for a student with celiac disease, as long as they have been scrubbed thoroughly with soap and water before use. Please use the same level of cleaning you would use to clean kitchen utensils that have touched raw chicken. The same level of diligence will remove gluten. While there is currently ongoing research into the safety of shared toasters, at this time it is recommended that food service environments use a dedicated gluten-free toaster to prevent cross-contact with gluten. If you're baking, set up a gluten-free baking station at least 6 feet away from where gluten-containing flours are used. A study in the UK looked closely at bakeries and found that 6 feet is the magic number to prevent flying flour from contaminating gluten-free foods. 6 feet to prevent COVID-19 and 6 feet to prevent flying flour from gluten-free foods too.
A salad or sandwich bar is the perfect place for students with celiac disease to find safe and healthy foods. They're loaded with fresh fruits, proteins, and vegetables that are key ingredients in a gluten-free diet. However, cross-contact on these bars can become a big safety issue if gluten-containing ingredients are improperly placed on the bar. To keep a salad and sandwich bar safe for gluten-free students, keep the following protocols in mind when setting the bar up each day. Always place gluten-containing ingredients like bread, croutons, pita chips, and crackers at the far end of the bar, so they are set away from the fresh vegetables, proteins, and fruits. Keep gluten-free bread separate from wheat bread to prevent confusion and cross-contact. Place gluten-containing products in the front row of the salad bar, so students do not need to drag them over the top of gluten-free ingredients to access them if both must be near each other. Always serve salad dressing in squeeze bottles, so the dressing never comes in contact with gluten-containing foods.
Kids love hamburgers and hot dogs, and by using a gluten-free bun that's safely toasted, a child with celiac disease can enjoy these foods too. But it's important to remember that spreading condiments on these foods can cause a problem. The easiest way to prevent cross-contact is by using squeeze bottles for condiments like ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, salad dressings, sauces, relish, and chocolate sauce. Squeeze bottles prevent cross-contact and allow all students to use the same condiment products without concern for double dipping.
Now that you know how to prepare and serve gluten-free food, let's talk about getting the food to the child and supporting them in the eating process. Appoint a food service staffer to be the child's main contact in the cafeteria. You want the child to be familiar with the person they should approach each day to get their safe, gluten-free meal. You want to make sure that the student and cafeteria staff all understand the procedures for getting the gluten-free food to the right person every day. Make sure the student understands what to do if they believe there is a problem. You want them to feel safe speaking up to a trusted adult. Remind students that they shouldn't share food and shouldn't touch their classmates' meals. This is a good practice for everyone, not just those with celiac disease. Report any instances of food bullying to the proper administrators. Unfortunately, children with celiac disease experience food bullying regularly, and it's important to help stop this from occurring. This might look like crumbling gluten-free bread into the child with celiac disease's lunchbox, waving a cookie or cupcake in their face, or encouraging them to eat gluten to be cool. These behaviors should not be tolerated. Being able to enjoy a safe gluten-free meal with their friends may be the highlight of many students' day. There is laughter, sharing of stories, and lifelong friendships made during lunchtime. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to learn about the practices to provide gluten-free food to children with celiac disease.